mutations. Okay. Firstly, we will see what genetic code is. The information needed to direct the synthesis of protein is contained in mRNA in the form of genetic code. As we all know, the central dogma of life. That means DNA replicates on itself, then there is a process of transcription in which there is a synthesis of mRNA, and then there is a process of translation, that is synthesis of protein from messenger RNA. Okay, so the information which is needed for the synthesis of protein, it is carried by the messenger RNA in the form of genetic code. Okay, the genetic code is a system of nucleotides, as we have seen in nucleotides or nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are the polymer of nucleotides, DNA and RNA. The system of nucleotide consists of, in this case, mRNA. 4 nitrogen bases are there, 2 purine and 2 pyrimidine. So the genetic code basically is in the form of nucleotides, 4 in number. Okay, the nucleotide sequence of the mRNA that determines the sequence of amino acids in the protein. This means the genetic code is in the form of the code of 4 number of nucleotides with various permutations and combinations, and the end product produced with the help of this is the protein, which is composed of amino acids which are 20 in number. Okay, so the codons, genetic code consists of codons. Codons are the group of 3 adjacent nitrogen bases that specify the single amino acid in a protein. So the codon, one codon signifies or identifies one amino acid, and with number of codons, number of amino acids are identified and they are utilized in the synthesis of protein. Okay, so the genetic code, it is the information which is basically stored in the DNA, which is carried by mRNA for the synthesis of protein. Okay, the basic language is with the system of nucleotides, and end product is with the synthesis of protein with the help of 20 amino acids. Okay, now going to the next slide. So here you can see it is a dictionary of amino acid code words in the mRNA. On the left side, you can see the first letter of codon at 5' end. The second letter, it is on the complete plane of the slide, you can see, and the third letter is mentioned over here in the last column at the 3' end. So the first letter, this is a second whole plane. It is a second letter, and the last column contains the third letter of a codon at 3' end. In the slide, you can see this AUG. This AUG is a codon that is called as initiation codon, and that signifies for the amino acid methionine. So you can say that every protein begins with a initiation codon AUG, and the first and foremost amino acid is methionine. Here you can see in yellow color with the star mark, these are the UAA, UGA and UAG. These are the codons which are called as stop codons or nonsense codon. Whenever in a genetic code, the protein synthetic machinery when comes across these 3 amino acids, as it signifies a stop codon, the synthesis of protein is stopped. Okay, so these 3 are the stop codons. So this is the dictionary of amino acid in mRNA. Now coming to the characteristics of genetic code. As we have seen, genetic code is a triplet. Okay, so 4 we have 4 nucleotides. So the number of permutations and combinations with this genetic code, these are 64 possible codon sequences are there. Okay, 4 into 4 into 4. As we have triplet and 4 nucleotide, or you can say 4 nitrogen bases or nucleotide bases. Okay, so there are 64 possible sequences. Out of these 64 possible sequences, UAA, UAG and UGA, as we have seen in yellow color, here yellow color, okay, this UAA, UAG and UGA, okay, these are, they do not code for any amino acids and they are called as nonsense codons, or they are called as stop codons. They terminate the process of synthesis of protein. Okay. These nonsense codons are arbitrarily named as amber, ochre, and opal. Okay. This can be asked as MCQ to you. Okay. So these are amber, ochre, and opal. Now, the genetic code is degenerate but unambiguous. You have to understand the meaning of each and every characteristics. Okay, what do you mean by degenerate? As there are 61 codons, we have 64 combinations and permutations, out of which 3 are stop codons or nonsense codons. So we are left with 61 codons. So now we have 61 codons and we have 20 naturally occurring amino acids in human body. So 20 amino acids that can be, what do you say, that can be identified, or that can be identified from 61 codons. So the number of codons is more and the number of amino acid is less. That means a single amino acid can have more than one codon. And that's why the code is referred as degenerate. Are you getting this point? Are you getting this point? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have 20 amino acids and 61 codons. That means a single amino acid can have more than one codon representing it on the mRNA. Is it clear to you? That means a single amino acid can be coded by more than one codon. And this is called as degeneracy of genetic code. Is it clear to you? I hope it is clear to you. Now coming to the next property, it is unambiguous. Okay. Although an amino acid may have more than one codon, but each codon specifies only one amino acid. That means one amino acid can have many codons representing it, but a single amino acid, but each codon, a single codon will represent only one amino acid. Same codon cannot specify another amino acid. Okay, so a codon is very specific for single amino acids. Is it clear to you? It is called as unambiguous. There is no confusion in it that a codon represents a single amino acid. Is it clear to you? This is actually exact opposite of that. That means in degeneracy of code, a single amino acid can be represented by more than one codon. At the same time, one codon will specify only one amino acid. That same codon cannot specify in any case or by any chance a second amino acid. So the codon is very specific for amino acid. But amino acid can be specified by more than one codon. So this is degeneracy of code and unambiguousness of the genetic code. Okay, so these are the two properties. Now coming to next. This is how the degeneracy of genetic code can be explained. You can see here methionine has one codon, tryptophan has one codon. On the right side, tyrosine has two codons. Then it is isoleucine that has 3 codons, alanine has 4 codons, glycine 4, proline, threonine, valine 4 codons each, arginine, leucine and serine 6 codons each. So the number of codons for same acid, a same amino acid can be presented by number of codons. Okay, but a codon that presents a amino acid is always the same. That is unambiguousness of the genetic code. Now, the codons that designate the same amino acid, they are called as synonyms. As we have seen, 2 amino acids, that is methionine, which is the initiation codon AUG, and tryptophan UGC. Each have only one codon. Okay, but the remaining amino acids have more than one. That means the multiple codons. For example, arginine is specified by 6 different codons. These 6 different codons are called as synonyms. Okay. Now, the genetic code is universal. Okay. Universal means what? In each of the organisms, a codon will represent the same amino acid in each of the organism, not only just in human beings, but it will code for a particular, if a particular codon is taken, that will specify a particular amino acid. It is called as universality of genetic code, but it has an exception. Okay, take a note of it. The DNA in mitochondria, they have some exceptions in this universality of genetic code. Okay, UGA is a stop codon which codes for tryptophan in human mitochondrial DNA. Then AUA, it is a codon for isoleucine, but it codes for methionine in human mitochondrial DNA. Okay, and CUA, it codes for threonine instead of leucine. These all exceptions can be asked to you in MCQs, asked to you as MCQs. Okay, so you need to remember this. So the genetic code is universal. That means a particular codon specifies a particular amino acid in all the species. Okay, there are exceptions in human mitochondrial DNA. These are mentioned over here. UGA, it is usually a stop codon that codes for tryptophan in mitochondrial DNA. AUA, it codes for methionine, and CUA, it codes for the threonine. Okay. Now, the next property is the genetic code is non-overlapping and without any punctuation. As you can see over here, during the translation, the code is read sequentially. Okay, without any spacing in the nitrogen bases. The 3 bases are taken at a one time. Okay, here AUG, CUA, GAC, UUU. You have to take 3 bases at a time, and these 3 bases constitute a codon. Okay, so this is non-overlapping and without any punctuation mark. There is no gap between the nitrogen bases. Now, coming to the Goebel hypothesis for codon-anticodon reaction. As we have seen, the genetic code is degenerate. What do you mean by that? Genetic code is degenerate. A single amino acid can be coded by more than one codon. Okay, it is called as degeneracy of code, and the reasoning for this degeneracy can be given with the help of this Goebel hypothesis. Let us see what it is. Okay, the third base of most codons pairs rather loosely with the corresponding bases of its anticodon. Here now it is considered that you have gone through the structure of RNA, particularly tRNA. Okay, it has a arm which is called as anticodon arm. Okay, it has a three bases at the top of this anticodon arm. Okay, and this anticodon arm pairs with the bases which are present in mRNA. So the first two have exact pairing that is mentioned in Chargaff's rule, or the specific bondings, complementary bondings. Okay, but the last base, that means the third base of the most codons pairs rather loosely with the corresponding bases that are present in the anticodon. And the third base of such codon is called as Goebel. So the third base on mRNA, that will be the first base on corresponding. See here, this is a mRNA. We can read it from 5' to 3'. So first, second, third. Okay. So these are the codons, and the complementary binding with anticodon of tRNA. This will be 3, 2, and 1. So the first base of mRNA will bind with third base on the anticodon. Second will bind with second, and the third base on mRNA will bind with first base of anticodon. Okay. So this is the thing. Crick proposed an assumption to explain this data on the basis of set of 4 relationships. These are called as Goebel hypothesis. We'll see one by one. The first two bases of mRNA codon always form a strong Watson-Crick base pair with the corresponding bases of tRNA anticodon and confer the most coding specificity. So the first two base pairs on mRNA that will show the strong, strong Watson-Crick base pair with the corresponding bases of tRNA. So the first two bases on mRNA will bind with second and third base pairs which are present on tRNA. So the first base on anticodon, that means the third base on the mRNA, determines the number of codons recognized by tRNA. So basically the culprit is third base which is present on mRNA, and it corresponds to the first base on tRNA. Okay. When the first base of the anticodon is C or A, the base pairing is specific and only one codon can be recognized by this tRNA. Okay, so the first base pair on anticodon is corresponding to the third base pair of mRNA. If it is C, that means a cytosine or adenine, or cytidylic acid and adenylic acid to be specific, it will recognize only one codon, and that will correspond to only one amino acid. If the first base on tRNA is either U or G, the binding is less specific and two different codons may be read. Okay. and inosine. It is one of the intermediates in the synthesis of purines. Okay. If the inosine is a first nucleotide that is called as Wobble nucleotide on tRNA, the three different codons can be recognized. Okay, so you need to remember this. If the first base on anticodon, if it is C or a single amino acid is recognized. Single codon is recognized that will represent a single amino acid. If a first base is either U or G, okay, the binding is less specific and two different codons can be read. And if inosine is the nucleotide which is called as Wobble nucleotide, if it is in the position of first nucleotide on tRNA, then it will lead to three different codons, and the three amino acids can be specified with the same codon. Okay, so we are just dealing with the hello. Okay. So the third point is when an amino acid is specified by several codons. The codons that differ.
Ma'am,
Can you hear me?
there is doubling of voice.
Okay, okay. When an amino acid is specified by several different codons, the codons that differ in either of first two bases require different tRNAs. Okay, that means a third base is always responsible for the wobbling. Okay, the fourth point is a minimum of 32 tRNAs are required to translate all 61 codons. Okay, 31 to encode the amino acids and 1 for initiation. So that is all about the wobbling hypothesis. Okay, so this is the pairing relationship of codon and anticodon. Lower down you can see the mRNA from 5' to 3' and it has a codon which is labeled from 1 to 3, and on upper part we have a structure of tRNA having anticodon arm which contains a anticodon which binds complementarily with the codon which is present on mRNA. As we have seen, the first base in anticodon is responsible for the majorly responsible for the wobbling of the genetic code, or it can be termed as a degeneracy of genetic code. Okay, so the three different codon pairing for arginine is possible when tRNA anticodon contains inosine. As I have told you, it is the intermediate base pair which is synthesized during the purine synthesis. Okay, if the first base in anticodon is inosine, then we have three types or three anticodons that identify the arginine. Okay. Now coming to the other part of our lecture today, that is mutations. Okay. So the mutations result when the change occur in the nucleotide sequence of DNA. Okay. So the term mutation you can define here is a permanent change that can be inherited to the progeny or next generation. It is called as mutation. The mutations present in germ cells, these are transmitted to the next progeny and may give rise to inherited disorders. The mutations in somatic cells, as we have seen somatic cells, they are not transmitted to the progeny, but they are important in causation of various cancers and congenital malfunctions. Okay, so basically you need to know the definition of mutation. It is the permanent change that occurs in DNA sequence and which is inheritable. The mutations in germ cell, they are transmitted to the next progeny, and the mutations in somatic cell, they are responsible for development of various congenital malformations and the various cancers. Okay. Now, what are the causes of mutations? First and foremost is error in replication. Okay, replication is formation of two daughter DNA from a parent DNA. As we have seen, it is a semi-conservative procedure, and one most important thing in DNA replication is that there is a proofreading. Okay, and the second chance of correction is post-replication repair system. So we have two what do you say, chances of correction if at all a damage or a error occurs in replication. We have two chances where we can correct the errors. One is a process of proofreading during the replication, and second one is post replication repair system. If these systems are affected, then there are chances of mutation. Okay, then second one is error due to recombination events. Third one is spontaneous changes in DNA. Example given here is deamination of cytosine to uracil. As we have already seen that DNA contains cytosine but not uracil. Okay, but if there is a damage to DNA, that can be presented as spontaneous deamination of cytosine, and cytosine is converted to uracil. This uracil naturally do not exist in DNA. If at all you find a uracil in DNA, that means it is a damaged or mutated. So this represents a spontaneous change in DNA. Then various environmental factors like chemical mutagens and irradiations like UV light or ionizing radiation can alter the structure of DNA. Okay, so these are the causes of mutation. Again, if you get a short note on mutations, you have to define the mutations, then what are the genetic mutations, what are somatic mutations, then what are the causes of mutation, and in next slides we are going to see what are the types of mutation. This all should be you have to write all the things in the question of mutation. This mutation can be asked as a separate SAQ, short note, or it can be a part of long answer question. Okay, so these are the types of mutation. Basically, two major types of the mutation. First one is base substitution or a point mutation. That means a single base is affected, and affected means it is substituted. Single base is substituted by another base pair. Okay, so it has a the consequence of this point mutation can be a silent mutation, a missense mutation, and a nonsense mutation. Silent mutations means even if the base pair is altered, if it is third base pair, for example. So because of degeneracy of code, the codon may specify the same amino acid, and the mutation may be not identified as such, and this mutation is known as silent mutation. Now coming to the next subtype of point mutation, that is missense mutation. Okay, if a single base is substituted by other, then it causes some difference in the functioning of the protein which is synthesized from the gene. Okay, these missense mutations can be further divided into acceptable, partially acceptable, and unacceptable. We are going to deal in detail with that. Then coming to third one, that is a nonsense mutation. That means there is a premature termination of the synthesis of protein, and the further synthesis is halted. It is called as nonsense mutation. Okay. Now, so these are the three subtypes of point mutation. Now, second type of mutation is frame shift mutation. Okay. If a base pair is deleted from the codon, that will reshuffle the sequence, which is red. Okay. And that will shift the frame of reading. Okay. So, if one is deleted, that will also shift the frame of reading, and if a single base is added, that also causes shifting of the frame of the reading. Okay, we'll see in details. First one is base substitution or a point mutation. Point mutation occurs only one base of DNA is altered. Okay, so the single base pair is changed or substituted. The single change can be transition type or transversion type. Transition is one purine is replaced by another purine. So purine, if it is replaced by purine and pyrimidine is replaced by pyrimidine, then it is called as transition. Okay, transversion. That means a purine is replaced by pyrimidine and pyrimidine is replaced by purine. Okay, here is the diagram. So in transition mutation, adenine is substituted by guanine. These two are the purines. While this thymine is substituted by cytosine. Again, this is a transition. Pyrimidine is substituted by pyrimidine. Okay, in either way, in both directions. Now coming to transversion. As we have seen, purine is substituted by pyrimidine. A is substituted by either T or C. Guanine is substituted by T or C. That means purines are substituted by pyrimidines. Similar way, pyrimidines are substituted by purines. P is substituted by either adenine or guanine. C is substituted by either adenine and guanine. So these are the types of the point mutations: transition and transversion. Okay. Now, what are the effects of point mutation? First, as we have seen, as a silent mutation, even if a single base pair is changed, it will not change the amino acid specified by that particular codon. So this mutation will go unnoticed and it is called as silent mutation. Now, second one is missense mutation. When a single base is changed, that causes some change in the end product. That means the formation protein which is formed, and this protein has altered function, but that may not cause the death of that patient. That can be these further missense mutations are acceptable, non-acceptable, and nonsense. Okay. And third one is a nonsense mutation. Now coming to the silent mutation. This mutation is not detected, leads to the formation of codon synonyms, or no change in amino acid sequence of the protein occurs. Same thing, because of degeneracy of code. For example, codon change from CGA to CGG does not affect the protein because both of these codons specify the arginine. Okay, the degeneracy of code helps here. Now coming to missense mutation. A different amino acid is incorporated. Indeed, there is a change in the protein synthesized. Depending on the location of mistaken amino
Ma'am, not audible. Ma'am, you're not audible.
So the transition and transversion, these are the effects of point mutation. First one is silent, which is unrecognized because of degeneracy of code. Second one here is the missense mutation. Okay, so the different amino acid is incorporated at the position of a particular amino acid that will change the composition of protein molecules and the functioning of that particular protein. Okay, and depending upon the location of mistaken amino acid in the specific protein, missense mutation can be acceptable, partially acceptable, or unacceptable to the function of that particular protein. Okay, for example, acceptable missense mutation, it is seen in HB picari. Okay, this hemoglobin has asparagine substituent for lysine at the 61 position of beta globin change. This is a transversion type of mutation and it is acceptable type of missense mutation. That
Can you please be a little loud?
okay, fine. So the acceptable missense mutation example is HB hemoglobin hicari, okay, which has asparagine as a substituent for the lysine at 61st position of beta globin chain. Okay, then there is a partially acceptable missense mutation. For example, fecal hemoglobin, in which the normal amino acid at the position of sixth place of beta chain is glutamine, which is replaced by the valine. Okay, so glutamine is a polar amino acid and which is replaced by a valine. Okay, which is a non-polar amino acid. So the solubility of hemoglobin is affected. Okay, and the carrying capacity, oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin is also affected, but it does not end the life of patient immediately. That's why it is called as partially acceptable missense mutation. You can see over here, glutamic acid is replaced by valine. That means GAA. This A is converted to U by the mutation, and this again GAG is converted to GUG. So glutamic acid is replaced by valine at the sixth position of beta chain, and this is partially acceptable missense mutation. Okay. Now, unacceptable missense mutation. If a single base is substituted substituted by other, that may cause or that may hamper the function of the protein which is synthesized, and the complete function of protein, if it is hampered, then it is called as unacceptable missense mutation. Here example is methemoglobin. Okay, normal hemoglobin has amino acid histidine at the 58th position of alpha chain. If it is replaced by tyrosine, a non-functional hemoglobin molecule is generated which cannot transport the oxygen, and this type of mutation is called as unacceptable missense mutation. Okay, so in missense mutations we have acceptable, partially acceptable and unacceptable mutations. Okay, now coming to the nonsense mutation. Okay, nonsense mutation lead to conversion of amino acid codon to a stop codon or a nonsense codon. So if a substitution leads to the formation of a stop codon or a nonsense codon, there is a premature termination in the synthesis of protein. Okay, so the nonsense mutation causes the premature termination of a polypeptide chain, which is usually non-functional. Whatever the synthesized protein molecule is, it becomes non-functional. Example over here is thalassemia, in which the codon 17 of beta chain is changed from UGG to UGA, results in the conversion of codon of tryptophan to nonsense codon. That means the synthesis of beta chain is hampered. It is prematurely terminated. So the amount of beta chain which is required for normal functioning of hemoglobin is not present. To compensate this, excess of alpha chains are synthesized, and that will lead to the hemolysis. In case of thalassemia, it is called as nonsense mutation. Clear to you? Is it clear to you? Can you hear me? Okay. Sure. So, yes, this is the second type of mutation, which is called as frame shift mutation. Addition or deletion of one or two nucleotides in DNA that may be generated as altered mRNAs, and this altered mRNA lead to the formation of altogetherly different protein which is intended to be synthesized. Okay, so this is a diagrammatic presentation you can see here. In the middle part, you can see the normal code. Okay, in yellow color it is UCU. What you can see over here is, okay, if this third base pair is deleted, then what will happen? The next base pair, okay, UGC, the first of this UGC will be shifted to this one. In upper part, you can see that UCU, after deletion of U, it will be read as CUU, because the U of next codon will be shifted to the previous codon, and the whole of the frame of reading is changed. Okay, this is a normal genetic code. With the deletion of one uracil, one nucleotide, the entirely frame of reading is shifted and changed. So the entirely different protein molecule is synthesized. So this is the case of deletion. If you see the case of addition in lower part of this diagram, if one cytosine base is added over here, this again leads to the shift of entire frame of reading. Okay, so the entire code is changed, and the amino acids in the polypeptide chain, these are also completely changed. So the synthesized protein is altogether different than the normally occurring protein. So this is called as frame shift mutation. Either there is a insertion or deletion that will shift the entire frame of reading of genetic code. This happens because the genetic code is punctuation-less, comma-less, or without any, what do you say, gaps. Okay, is it clear to you? So in case of mutations, a question asked to you, in case of mutations, you have to define the mutations. You have to write down the type of mutations. Okay, so point mutations and frame-shift mutations. You have to specify the things in point mutation, transition, transversion, then this thing you have to remember. Okay, in a point mutation, transition, transversion, then silent mutation, missense mutation. In missense mutation, you have to give the 3 examples: acceptable, partially acceptable, and unacceptable. And third one over here is nonsense mutation. Okay, and the second type of mutation is frame shift mutation, either deletion or insertion of a base that will completely shift the frame of reading of the genetic code, leading to the formation of altogether different protein molecule. Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is all about today's lecture, the properties of genetic code and the mutations. Thank you very much for attending the class.